Ashes to ashes.
Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of Till Death Do Us Part, the podcast, where we explore everything related to death, funerals, and stories that connect us all. I'm your host, Mike Hamlar from Virginia. Warren, you really did that intro, brother. Get on up. We're going to be good enough today. We're going to do it. We're going to go around the horn and do our introductions real quick. And then
we made it out the chat.
Hold on. We're already going to do it. Uh-oh, flag on the play. There is a flag on the play already.
Good evening.
All right.
You got flagged and we didn't even get started good.
Got flagged before we
That's
got started.
crazy.
Flag on the play. But thank y'all for tuning in and joining us today. So our topic today is going to be, will the VA bury my daddy or my mama? And it's going to be really nice. But we're going to do introductions first. Adrian, go ahead, man. Always in the restaurant. He in one of his restaurants in Texas right now, I guess.
What up, people? Listen, we are ready. We are excited. Today is the day, y'all. Episode number 5, and I am at our new bistro. It's called Support in Dallas, Texas. But nevertheless, y'all, we excited. Will the military bury my daddy, my mama, my sister, my brother, my cousin? Let's talk about it. Here we go.
Shameless plug.
Gotta do it. Sponsored by. All right, Adrian, appreciate you, man. Charmaine.
Well, since Adrian in his restaurant, I'm in one of my offices, 4002 Ridgewood Avenue. I mean, he throwing out shameless plugs here. I'm in Baltimore City, 2 offices in Baltimore City and also in Harford County.
You going overboard.
Now, shameless plug. Welcome in, everybody. This is episode 5. Yeah, 5. We're going to have some fun, even though it's maybe a little dreary of a topic, but we're still going to have fun with this.
That's the mother. Everybody wants to hear the mother. All right, so now we're going to go down to the Deacon, Wendal from VA. Let's go.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to our 5th episode tonight. We are excited. Some good information we probably share tonight. We're going to learn from each other tonight because as the topic we're talking about, it may vary a little bit from state to state, but we're going to cover some information that's good for everybody tonight that got a veteran in your family. So if you got a veteran, call them, tell them log on, type some stuff in the comment box. They make it help us out, learn some stuff tonight. Welcome.
All right, thank you, the Deacon. So we're going to go to the Princess, Miss Tiffanie from Philly. She's going to pull out that Philly Eagles something she got up there. I don't know what she got. Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Don't be a hater. Don't hate the game. You're just saying that because you Dallas, so you know.
Yeah, Cowboy Nation, you know where it is.
You always sit home, so you know. Don't be a hater. So anyway, It's Tiffanie, the princess, and I just want to thank everyone for their continued support. We are on episode 5, and I look forward to comments tonight for people that got good questions. We enjoy the questions, and let's go.
All right. Thank you, Tiffanie. Last but not least, the baby, Warren, another VA. What's up, Warren?
What's up, everybody? It is episode 5. I am so elated to be back with you all again another Monday. Listen, it's another great topic. It's another great day just to be with my peeps and kick it for an hour. I hope this is the best hour of your entire day. And it's going to be a great one because we made it out the chat. Not giving no sense because I'm sitting at my house.
I got a question, Mike.
Yo, what's up, man?
What did y'all do on Mondays before we started this? What would y'all do on Mondays? What did y'all do?
Not having this much fun, I can tell you that. I know I was probably chasing one of my kids around some sporting event. So
exactly. Practice.
Because we're
Practice.
soccer dads.
Yeah. All in there. All right. So thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you share, like, comment, be interactive with us. We definitely want to say hello. There go Tanisha C. Hey, everyone. Enjoying the live shows. Hey, appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in.
Hi.
Thank you, Tanisha.
They go to baby, always commenting, like, share, comment, run it back. Let's go. All right, so we appreciate y'all showing some love and watching and tuning in to us. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about a little recap from last week. So if you missed last week, go back on YouTube and watch us. The topic last week was when the side chick doesn't matter, our princess.
Oops.
Or does she?
Or does she? Great conversation for that hour. We had a lot of information, but in all seriousness, you really should go back and check that out and make sure you have all your stuff together. So go look at episode 4, when the side chick doesn't matter, or does she? So today we're going to talk about VA benefits, right? But before we get there, we do want to go through our current events. Thankfully, it wasn't a lot of current events this week. I know the last few weeks there's been all kind of stuff in death care and funeral service. Who wants to tee this up about the current event that we're going to show today?
Adrian, you may as well. You were the one that brought it up.
So this current event this week, y'all, it's kind of now going viral. Our good old President Donald Trump decided to put on a Pope outfit. Now we're not sure. Allegedly, they say that it was, a Photoshop picture. However, this nut has it on the White House page and all kind of stuff. So we're going to play a clip or show y'all a clip of that at some point before it's all said and done. But how do you feel about him not only having on this outfit, but nevertheless, you're boasting about it? And do you think that it's a mockery?
He's always disturbed me.
Well, the Catholic Church... Yeah, the Catholic Church even responded in a tweet or something saying, how don't mock us. It's not funny. We're about serious business. And I was just like, he's a joke anyway. So anything he does is a joke.
So there's the picture.
Yeah, that.
If you can see it all.
Yeah.
We won't leave it up long. We'll take it off of there.
Terrible.
Yes. My eyes are burning.
Yeah.
They're burning.
So it was
that's a complete disgrace. I mean, for anybody to do it, and it's even worse for someone of what's supposed to be his stature to do that. It's very disrespectful.
Yes.
To anybody, even if it was just a regular minister that passed that was very influential. Like, it's completely a disgrace
and distasteful.
Yeah.
But he's distasteful, so why would we expect anything more from him?
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
You could tell that it's an AI picture. But the thing about it is you almost can't put all the weight on him because he has literally surrounded himself with people who do whatever they want or whatever he would want. At this point, the government is literally just trolling. The executive branch of the government is trolling the American people one way or the other. It's like a big episode of Family Guy. It really is a big episode of Family Guy.
Yeah, Google Family Guy.
I never watched that show.
Me either, kid.
Can you put on Flag on Play?
What show was that?
Family Guy.
I never.
There's a flag on the play. I don't know what Family Guy is. Flag on the play.
What?
Well, at least she didn't lose her sister card.
So just to wrap up the Donald Trump piece. So basically, in the New York Post and all the articles, and I'm reading this here. So he said Monday the AI generated image was a joke and that you have to have a little fun. I think all of us have pretty much said and agreed that that's very distasteful, especially to our folks that are Catholic. And we want to show respect to them and to the Pope and to that process. So, at the end of the day, I know some things you joke about, so some things you just can't. So I think we probably would agree with that one. But Wendal actually said a segue into our segment about the government. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about, will the VA bury my daddy or my mama? And unfortunately, 99.9% of the time, the answer is what?
No.
Absolutely not. All right, so who wants to take the first stab at this one?
I was saying it depends.
Go with it.
Go ahead, Charmaine.
It depends on what your thoughts are with burying them. Number one, let's get clear for the veterans themselves. If in fact you do not have a honorable DD-214, you won't be buried. Here's what people are misconceived about. The veterans will handle burial. They won't take care of funeral home. They will only handle burial in a veteran cemetery. Majority of the places here in Maryland, actually all of the public cemeteries here in Maryland, if you go into a veteran section of that cemetery, you paying what that veteran section costs. The VA is not giving you money towards that veteran section. So you are only free in a veteran cemetery. Now, here in the state of Maryland, October of 2023, October of 2023 or 4, they started burying the spouses for free, as long as the veteran is an honorable discharge veteran. At one time, the highest that the spouse fee had gotten, and it's just burial only, so don't think funeral home and burial is the same thing. Burial only. The highest amount they got was $839 for the spouse, and that included the opening, closing, and the outside container. Of course, the headstone marker, the spouse get added for free. But let me put this shameless plug in. Anybody that's on this live feed, on my website, www.williamcbrownfh, that's William as in the name William, C as in Charles, Brown, F as in Frank, H as in Henry, or FH as in funeral home, williamcbrownfh.com. Go into our website. At the top, there's a scrolling banner that says, do you have your DD-214? Click on that and it takes you directly to the website, to the va.gov website.
And that's great.
That's not your 811th shameless plug.
but no, Charmaine,
we got to put it back on there. It's another flag on it.
But what Charmaine was sharing was good, because that's people can go right there and be directed to where they can get the DD-214 from. Because let's take a look at it. A lot of older veterans do not know where their paperwork is in reference to that DD-214. So there are several offices in different cities that will assist families in getting that information. There are help centers for veterans, or go to the funeral homes. You can't expect the people to stop funerals to do it, but make an appointment and talk with the funeral director and say, I don't have a DD-214. How can I obtain it? How can I get, my records? And there is a personnel office. I believe it's in Ohio, correct? That's what the National Personnel Office is in Ohio. Where you can
St. Louis. I thought it was in St. Louis.
St. Louis. Okay. You can get your DD-214. So that's real important. Charmaine said the best. You need that information to say honorable. Now let's talk about what if it's not. If your DD-214 says let's talk about what is sanctioned a dishonorable discharge, and are there any benefits with someone who is dishonorably discharged? More than likely, there are none. You're not eligible for burial in a cemetery, a veteran cemetery. You have a dishonorable discharge.
No tax, no nothing.
Right. Have any of you ever had to break that news to a family that the DD-214 has had a dishonorable and not honorable?
So yes. I do want to say this. So it and a lot of times it doesn't really have to be that hard. So we'll speak for Virginia, for instance. I know a lot of the older veterans may not have that paperwork anymore. They may not have the certificate. They may not have the DD-214. But if they were a patient at a VA hospital, pull on your resources. I have a young lady at my VA hospital right here in Richmond. And if I call her and she could tell me that it was a patient at the local VA hospital, hey, you have
my friend, Warren. Don't be using my friend. That's Ms.
Listen. Yes. Let me tell you. Shout out to it. Shout out to Miss Cruz.
That's right.
Let's go. Because if we call with the social, she said, okay, baby, what's your fax number? Okay, I need a death certificate when all this is done. And she'll send all that information for their family. But to answer that question, There have been some that have had dishonorable discharges, or they don't have their paperwork, and it's too close of a turnaround to get the paperwork. And the family is they're just really not interested, or they just don't know. In those cases, it kind of falls on us to make sure that they're honored. We might not be able to get the flag. We may not be able to do all the things that the military would do, but it's nothing for me to put a waving flag on the TV screen above their casket, or to get a Amazon pin to go on their lapel, something like that, where the family knows that you do care about their service. Life happens. Sometimes stuff burns up, or paperwork gets lost, and nobody takes time to find it. But there are ways that we can still honor them.
Yeah.
Can I bring up dependents?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Charmaine. What you got?
Ma'am, sir, any veteran, if you have dependent children, please make sure they are listed on your paperwork. Please make sure your names are on their birth certificates. Please make sure they're listed as proper dependents. Had a case where there was a veteran, male veteran, and his daughter was not listed on his paperwork. And at the time of his passing, the mom tried to go get benefits, and the mom failed to put his name on the birth certificate, and he did not list that child as a dependent. So it was a he say, she say situation. There was no proof that that child belonged to the man. So what they had to eventually do was DNA testing with his survivors in order to prove that that was his child, in order for them to move forward with certain benefits. Also, if you have a handicapped dependent child, please make sure that handicapped adult dependent child is listed on your discharge paper. I'm not discharge, your veterans benefit packages as well, because that this disabled child will also qualify for a grave as long as you have an honorable discharge.
That's right. Yeah.
That's Charmaine. That's good stuff right there. So what you got, Tiff?
So when you're speaking about graves, when you're trying to get a burial scheduled at the National Cemetery, if you don't necessarily have the discharge, you can still, as the funeral home, we can still contact the scheduling office and give them what we do have, which would be date of birth and social security number, and hope that the VA may have the scheduling office may have some information already in their system. I've had it go both ways. I've had it go where I gave the date of birth and social, and his DD-214 popped up, and I was actually able to get the whole thing scheduled. Now, they would not give me a copy of it. I did have to reach out to the cemetery, which was Washington Crossings, and Washington Crossings was able to provide me with something so that I could get the flag, get the military honors and whatnot. Then I did have it go the other way, where they didn't have the paperwork. I sent it in, and it goes to what they call eligibility. Mm-hmm. And when it goes into eligibility, there's no telling how long that can take. Like, eligibility may take, I've had it happen where it takes 2-3 days and they say yes. I've had it happen where it takes a week and they say yes. But I've also had it go the other way, where, they tell me no, and that he's ineligible because of either time or the fact that it was under some other condition than honorable. So it can go either way.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Tiff. So before we go any further, here's our disclaimer right here. The views of the podcast are only ours at the individuals, not any particular firm or company. We always want to put that out there, just let you know that these are just our views moving forward. So you got to roll a couple times. But before we move further, let's take a step back. All right. So a lot of times people don't know what veterans are entitled to as long as they have that honorable discharge. Right. So what I tell our families, my families here in Virginia, typically your veteran, long as they have that DD-214 or honorable discharge, they're entitled to a flag. So they'll get a flag, right, with the proper flag application. They're entitled to the military, if available at this point, to come to the gravesite or to the funeral home or to the church. They'll play taps fold the flag, and present the legal next of kin the flag. And then the third thing that I always like to share with families is, as a honorable discharged veteran, you can be buried in any veteran cemetery free of charge. Now, the caveat to that is if you're looking at being buried in Arlington, they have changed their rules and regulations at Arlington. If you thought you qualified 20 years ago, we had a family, they applied or they talked to them 20 years ago, the veteran died and they no longer qualified. So you need to make sure you check those as well. So just keep
here
that
in Pennsylvania.
mind.
Here in Pennsylvania, you also can get 10 free death certificates per calendar year.
Wow.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, not in Virginia. And also recommend every veteran.
That's real nice right there.
First, veterans, thank y'all for your service. We really appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for that. Second thing is please, if you don't hear anything else today, take your DD-214 and register it at the courthouse. Yeah. If you go and register your DD-214 at the courthouse, it's there forever. Yep. So if your loved one can't find it, like somebody mentioned, if you have a fire, things burn up, you can always find that DD-214 at the courthouse. So please, veterans, if you haven't done it already, please take that to your local courthouse.
Can you explain the courthouse purpose?
I was going to say expand on that.
Sure. So basically, when you record at the courthouse, it's an official document, right? So the courthouse should have records forever because it's the courthouse. That's where marriage certificates, birth certificates, death certificates, all of those things somehow end up at the courthouse for final records. So if you have that and you're the legal next of kin and you cannot find that DD-214, you can go to the courthouse and do a search and you can find it as long as it's been recorded there.
Or go back to episode 1. Go to your funeral home and put your stuff on record.
True. Even better. Go to the funeral home.
And give us the address for your funeral home so we can come there.
Check my website, WilliamCBrownFH.com.
But no, what Mike said is true. And the biggest thing, and another thing, we as funeral professionals, the biggest thing, the mistake we can make is try to inform a family of something that we're not well versed on. If we don't have the answer, please don't try to confuse the family. And the best thing we can tell them is to seek some help with a person who works for the VA, because there are other benefits we haven't talked about tonight. We did share about, in reference to cemeteries, the military will pay a certain percentage of your plot at a regular cemetery. If you die in a VA hospital, they will pay for a little bit of your transportation. Transportation is meaning transportation from your place of death to the funeral home. 1, 2, they will pay a plot expense, whatever cemetery you're buried at. They won't pay the whole thing, but they will give you money towards your plot. So when you apply to them for your benefits, when you apply to them for reimbursement, and that's not paying for your funeral. Reimbursement is reimbursement. Person who is signing the contract, who is the next of kin, reimbursing them the plot allowance and also the reimbursement of transportation. And that is not decided by the funeral home. That is decided by the VA once you apply.
Right. And that form is called that's called a burial benefits.
Burial benefits form.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
And
that has
great point.
So that's important that we tell people they can apply for this, and they will usually get it depending upon the eligibility of how long they served, what they did when they served. So the DD-214 is just really important to have so you can know about all those benefits. And especially we need to be cognizant if we're telling people about headstones. Perpetual care cemeteries, the military will provide the bronze piece. That does not mean that the family does not have to buy the granite and the vase that it goes on. So when you tell a family, the military is going to give you a headstone, they give you a headstone, but if it's a bronze piece, you still got to buy the piece it goes on, which in most cemeteries now, that's $4,000 to $5,000.
Right.
You get a free bronze marker from the government. Yay. But you got to put it on something. So we need to be, families need to know that,
Did you say 45 or 4 to 5?
4 to 5,000.
Oh, because I thought you said 45, honey. I'm like, wait.
What, for the granite base?
For the granite and the vase that the bronze goes on. That part.
The vase.
When people get the bronze markers back, they think that's it. But in a perpetual care cemetery, you have to put that on a slab. You just can't put it in the ground.
And they charge an installation fee.
Right. So it's important that we share with families who have veterans that they know that you have to pay for that piece of it.
Yeah,
So
and again,
several things. Go ahead, Adrian.
No. I was just gonna just quickly piggyback off that with also not only if you decide that you want to have, your loved one at a different cemetery outside of the national, and you get all the paperwork done, and of course if it's approved and they're honorably discharged and all, you can also have them come out and do the taps and everything there as well. So that doesn't always just happen at the national cemetery. You can also get them to come out to your local, community cemetery and do it as well. So understand that we're not trying, our job here and our job of this podcast is to enlighten you, on the information that you don't know, and of course some that you may know. So if you do not know, for those who say, well, I don't want my dad, buried at the national cemetery, or my mom because my dad is here and I want them together, that's fine. Do the proper paperwork, do it in time, definitely be on your due diligence to make sure that you have it all in order and intact, and you can definitely very well do that, and they can still receive all the honors and the benefits that they are just due at another cemetery.
No, that's good stuff right there.
I just want to say this. I'm gonna do this in segments, right? I want you to prepare the flag on the play, because whatever Tiffanie is eating, it must be good.
It must be. Oh Lord,
she is tearing up whatever she got on that.
Hold up, flag on the plate. Hold up.
I mean, Jaws just full.
Oh, I mean, is she trying her best with that little hand?
I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten all day today.
You want somebody? Look, we sell the repast tea over here, y'all. This is the repast tea.
I have plenty of beverage in my world champion, Super Bowl champion.
I got to put the real flag on the play on that one. Real flag.
So
I want the red flag.
Mike, I do want to bring up Barry Robinson's comment that
put in
the chat there about doing it in every town that you live in. So if you move, make sure that stuff is somewhere where you can find it. Veterans, if you are old enough and that D214 is starting to get wrinkled and tore up, go somewhere where they have a laminate. Any Staples or Office Max will laminate it for you so that they have it. But also, like Charmaine said, all this can be solved by just taking it to the local funeral home and having them put it in a file. But I did want to kind of piggyback on what Wendal was saying.
Thank you, Barry, for your comment.
Thank you so much. And while I'm talking, y'all please like, share. Let's get these numbers up. Send some hearts.
And we are going to have an auction and generate some.
Okay. Amen.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a question for Barry. Well, not a question for Barry. If possible, can Barry kind of elaborate on some of what we're talking about in his comments? Because he is a retired veteran and he has a spouse and his daughter is not handicapped or dependent. So
leave Brittany alone. She ain't no handicap. She's not handicapped.
I said she's not. So Barry, please feel free to, let us know what type of benefits.
So who is Barry? So we know Barry.
Yeah, Barry Roberts,
the tallest man in the association.
The tallest
man in the association.
From Virginia.
Okay, what's up? What's up,
Barry? And he's a Sigma, just in case you want to know.
Oh, here you go with that.
I just want to say.
Hold on, where the flag at? Throw the big flag at. Where the flag at?
Give him the flag.
Give him the flag. There's a big flag on the play on that one. That's just terrible.
Why
instead of where the fans at, where the flag at?
Where the flag at? We're not doing boots on the ground.
I'll just say that burial benefits.
All right, Warren, go ahead. Warren, try to make a point. Go ahead, Warren.
Burial benefits has taken a drop. So if you come into the funeral home and you want to tell the funeral director, well, such and such buried free, or they provide them a casket, burial benefits took a drop as early as Iraqi freedom or the Afghanistan war. They shifted all of their funding and all of their benefits to souls that were dying in action. So it made it a lot harder for retired veterans or veterans period to get the burial benefits But the whole stone thing is kind of personal to me because we're going through the issue now. When my grandfather passed, we got a long piece of granite to have his bronze marker put in. So when my grandmother passed, everybody was like, well, do we have to pay for the bronze? I'm like, yes, she has to do a military match, what they call a military match. The bronze alone was like $1,900.
Oh.
And I was like, now sis could have got a regular stone from me. But you know, it's you'd be surprised the amount of people who don't realize that they have to have that. Now you don't have to have a bronze stone. I know some of the public cemeteries you have to have a flat bronze, but the military give you options on either white marble or granite. If the person's been cremated, they can get a pendant. So you do have your options outside of that.
That's true.
Yeah,
Also, know that when the wife, if it's her husband that passed and she's doing the upright marble or whatever she's going to do, in the application, there's a bottom where you can put notes. If you intend to be buried where your husband is and you want your name to go on that stone, you need to indicate it on those notes that there needs to be space left so that a second name can be added later. I can't tell you how many times I got folks. Matter of fact, I just dealt with it today. I had a family came in and made arrangements. The husband passed previously. He was a vet. They got a flat granite. And now the wife passed. And I asked them, I said, was there space? And they said no. So now we're going to have to take that out, take the VA marker out, because they want to get a stone so that both of them can go on it, because that cemetery will not allow anything at the head and the foot. You can only have it at the head end. So now that's got to go, and we got to put a new one in. So make sure that as the wife, you put your put in the notes that a second name is to be added on later on, so that they'll leave space for that information to go in.
Yeah, that's good information, Tiffanie. So touched on two things that we're going to cover here in just a second. So one is active duty. So Warren mentioned about those passing during active duty. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. But before we do that, let's finish up the cemetery talk. One thing to make sure you check with the cemetery of your choice, because they do have requirements. I think Wendal mentioned it, Tiffany's mentioned it, and others have mentioned. But please check. Do not order a flat or an upright marker, and that cemetery does no longer accepts upright markers. Right. So the upright ones are the ones that look like the old stones back in the day. They're real tall. That's what they call upright.
Tombstones.
The flat bronze are nice and easy. Yeah, tombstones. So the tombstones, they're not accepting those here locally anymore. They got to do flat bronze at the public cemeteries.
That's crazy, because ours are pretty not like that. Ours are the granite, but they kind of got the little oval, you know what I'm saying, top to them. You know what I mean?
That's how Arlington National is. Some of the national cemeteries are like
Barry just mentioned that.
He just mentioned
using upright only.
Uprights only.
Thank you, Barry.
Yeah.
Now
Barry,
here in Maryland,
a lot of the cemeteries here, private, public. Well, most of our cemeteries are all public cemeteries. They let you do whatever is regulatory of the whole cemetery. So if you're in a cemetery that allows uprights, then you can choose to do either an upright or a flat. It just depends on your personal preference. So yeah, like Mike said, you need to find out from the cemetery what is allowed before you fill out that paperwork.
Yeah, check with them and see, because some now. Oh, go ahead, Wendell. What you got?
I was just thinking one thing that we another advantage of having your DD 214, as you was mentioning earlier. A lot of people don't know how to construct the obituary, and you can refer to your DD 214 because it lists all of the wars you served in, if any, the highest rank that's on there, where you entered the service, where you exited, the years. So it's real helpful when you're writing the obituary, because you can refer to the DD 214 for all the pertinent information that you would need to write the obituary, whether there have been ribbons and medals. All that information is listed on the DD 214. I know some people like to say, well, he served many years in the service, or he served over 30 years. You can get the exact information right off that DD 214, so you can be accurate when you're writing the obituary.
You said something vital.
That's the pet peeve of mine, so you can get those dates. Because I hate when people put on an obituary at an early age he joined this church. I know what year I joined my church, and I want that on my bitch, my wife. I want the year and the month. Don't say at the early age. Right? That burned me up at an early age.
Say the year and the month.
No, I know the year. I know the day. I'm just saying. You can get the information off the DD-214 that you would need to put on the obituary, so you can have accurate information when people read the story of the person's life.
Yeah, when he hit that water.
I'm gonna make sure when I get up and make comments, I'm gonna say he wore Beijing every week of his life.
So where's the flag?
Where's the flag?
Where's the flag?
I'm gonna tell him he put on the Beijing every week of his life.
I was about to say, was this the first time you got baptized or the second?
You said the water was cold.
Chill my body.
Too cold.
Oh man, that was funny.
Adrian. That was your one, Adrian.
That's one for Adrian. Adrian got that one.
You got the one.
All right, so let's talk about active duty. So yeah, there was a big flag on the play. Active duty.
Well,
He's just happy nobody's
Adrian,
talking about him right now. He happy
yeah,
we're not talking about him.
What you not was you come from my brother and you got baptized in the kiddie pool.
Well, I'm gonna tell you,
you're not about to do that.
Okay, well, at least I was able to fit in the kiddie pool.
Head to
Was
toe.
it the Walmart brand?
Head to toe.
Was it the swimming pool?
The bucket.
They got baptized in the river. What's wrong with y'all?
Down by
Warren-
the river.
Yeah, Warren got baptized in the backyard
Down
pond.
by the river.
Adrian hit the water and water.
Okay. We gotta reel it back in.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, active duty, right? So again, veterans, we do thank you for your service.
That was disrespectful. That was
Yeah,
disrespectful.
But on active duty, the things changed just a little bit, right? So I think some of us, and most of us, probably have served in active duty, veteran, with the family and everything, and it's tough because they were serving our country and they were killed somehow, some way, and then it was our honor to serve them. You haven't done one.
We have never active duty someone to die in military service.
I have two of them. I have, and this was back in about 97. During that
grade.
Gulf War, I think. Might have been that Gulf War.
Basically, look at her.
Age myself. How about that? So during that time, he came in what used to be the G90 casket. He came in a silver casket.
I'm gonna say it's a silver one. I remember that.
Yeah, this particular individual was an officer. So of course they always send an escort. And then they allowed the family the opportunity to switch the caskets if they wanted to. The wife did upgrade the casket, and the escort and one other person had to be there when they did upgrade the casket because they still had to do the same procedure with wrapping the bag in the blanket, and placing the uniform on top of the bag and things like that inside of the casket. So we didn't do it. We just provided the casket for the spouse. Because she wanted a different look. She didn't want that same old traditional look. That was the first time ever in the same day of a funeral that we went to Arlington National Cemetery. Y'all know now, here y'all go. Y'all know now, Arlington National, if you go as cremains, it's almost 2 years. If you go as a whole body, depending on your ranking, you can be up to 4 to 6 months. Because it take them 3 weeks just to tell you that they got the paperwork. Oh, I wish we had Calvin Dixon on here. It takes 3 weeks to tell you they received your paperwork by email. Then once they receive your paperwork, there's another 3 to 4 weeks to call you and say, hey, we have you on the list, on the schedule, but we got to call you back. And another 3 to 4 weeks to tell you what date you coming, which ends up being 3 months out from the date that they call you.
Exactly.
So I've taken a body recently down to Quantico because of this timing. I even have people to just settle for the state cemetery and then get the big military honors. Now here in Maryland, we've been struggling with military honors. They barely sending out 2 flag folders and a bugler. Now they send out 2 flag folders, and then the bugler have the little piece inside the trumpet that they push the button and you don't see them breathing at all.
And they play
and they
it.
standing like this, and that bugler go.
Charmaine, one day we had a service and the battery went dead.
Oh no!
Oh wow!
So
What
please,
y'all do?
sir, don't blame the funeral home for this.
How do you Milli Vanilli playing taps?
They do it all the time.
They do it
That
all
was
the
it. That was their
time.
fifth service that day. That was their fifth service, Wendell.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was like burr, burr, burr.
Every
Ding.
now and then,
no.
The ones are playing for
Flag
real.
on the play.
Yeah,
No, they'll have a bugler at one cemetery, but the
Right
church cemetery,
now.
they're not getting
That's
the bugler.
good. Mike,
Flag
we
on
haven't
the
shared
play.
that. Mike, let's share that. You can talk about that. We have not talked about who's entitled to what in reference to every family wants 21 gun salute. Let's talk about that. Who's eligible for that? So people
right.
It ain't 21 guns though.
You can only get it if you're at the National Cemetery.
or if you're
At the-
retired.
here in Pennsylvania,
Retirees.
Here in Pennsylvania, 21 gun salute is only played at the National, is only done at the National
Oh, wow.
Cemetery. That is it.
Oh yeah.
Period.
And Virginia's different. So
Yeah.
Virginia, if you're retired, 20 years of service, you qualify
I
for
know.
it. Now,
They'll
what
send
we're being told all the time is if they are available, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it used
But
to be
that's-
automatic, but now it's if they're available.
If they're
here in
available.
Yeah,
Virginia.
but see, that's what I was saying also here in Texas. See, you can get that done at a separate cemetery as well. But you gotta, put in the application and everything for it, or
Mhm.
the request. But yeah, you can get that done at a separate cemetery as well, but you gotta, put it in.
You can, and I'm very
Yeah,
thankful
no.
for our folks here in Roanoke, Virginia. Our service branches, we have their numbers, we call them, they always respond. Sergeant Sisson and the rest of those group, they've been great. So thank y'all so much for your help because we really appreciate you.
No,
But listen,
during
so
COVID,
then-
when they were
Go
really
ahead.
busy, when we couldn't get teams to come out, there were
Oh, boy.
several organizations that would volunteer to do the 21 gun salute.
Right.
I believe what do they call the
Like the VFW,
DFWs?
the
They would
DAV,
help out.
Yeah,
disabled veterans.
all the
American
retired and disabled ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
They will volunteer to help out in reference to that because the teams were so busy. They were all over the place doing
Yeah.
honors.
So we have an American Legion here. They'll do a ceremony during the wake, but we don't have an organization here, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, that will assist in military honors. Majority of the time, the main veteran cemetery that we go to here has a speaker. So if the honors don't show up, because you have to contact the different
They'll play it.
branches.
Mhm.
If they don't show up, they'll play it through through the system, and then the funeral home will fold the flag.
Fold the flag.
So how many of y'all know the speech to present the family? How
What
many of y'all
speech?
know?
Hit no.
Come on, mother.
On behalf of the
speech?
United States, on
There you go,
behalf of
Tiffany.
the United States military.
On behalf of the president of the
on
United
behalf
States.
of the president.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to say the president's name, whichever one it
Yeah.
is at that time.
That's right. And
Yeah.
a grateful nation.
I don't know the
Our,
rest.
Grateful
folks
Nation.
don't say the president's name. They
Yeah.
just say on
You don't have
behalf
to
of
say the president's
president
You don't have to
of
say
the
the
United
president's
States. They
name.
don't say the president.
Oh, they be saying the president's name at ours.
That's because you in Texas.
Wait,
Well,
so what's funny is after Donald Trump's after his first term in the White House, I had a whole bunch of people wait until after the election to get their
Their certificates.
certificates from the
I don't send
military.
certificates.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I don't send out any certificates right now. I will wait
Yeah.
until he's out of office to send certificates again.
It's so
No,
sad.
no,
I ain't
Nobody
never seen
wants
a
them.
certificate.
Nobody
That's
wants a
crazy.
certificate with his name on it right now. Republicans,
think-
Right, who
Democrats,
wants it?
Independents, nobody.
I think he'll be out of office in about 6 months.
Yeah.
Kind
All
of
right, Wendell, what you got?
ties in what we did last week.
Mhm.
Side chick doesn't matter. Let's talk about you got a family and they are requesting that 2 or more flags be presented at the cemetery. Who's entitled to get the flag? The mother, the wife, the girlfriend, the person that's paying. Have you ever had a situation where there were multiple flags requested? And
The
what
next
is your
Yes.
what is your take?
Yes to all of the above. Who wants to take
And
it?
I told them, I politely told them that I was only giving out one. So y'all need to decide who you want to be that one person, because I'm not getting another one. If you want another one, then you figure out how to get it. But I will get you one flag for the main next of kin. Period.
All right, princess.
So,
Okay.
so we had a situation like that. I had a situation like that, but it wasn't multiple women as of relations. It was the mother and the fiance.
Mhm.
Fiance wanted one, mama wanted one. Of course,
The
fiance
fiance
was.
don't count because she's not the legal next to kin.
She write,
Right.
did she write the
I,
check?
Unfortunately.
again, she was the policy holder. She was the one who paid,
Don't
and
matter.
she was the contract. Listen to me.
Okay.
That ain't the question. Is she matter or not? The question is if it was a request,
All right.
and it was a request. And at the end of the day, the request was granted. Mama got one, and she got one.
Okay.
Now,
So everybody was
I
happy.
get two.
Now the
So
flip
I
part
know-
of that,
I
the
know
flip
that
I'm
part of
with
that is that
Tiffany.
hers came in the case. Mama's didn't come in the case.
So we just looked this up because we had a request for the same thing, and on the government website, any veterans entitled to one flag. Now there are flags that you can buy,
Right.
but the unofficial flag
The
from the
courtesy,
U.S. government.
courtesy that
Right.
Adrian did, that was a professional
Yeah,
courtesy.
so
Yeah, that was
So
it. Just
since she wrote the check, I guess it was
right. We got an extra flag from the plug
But
at the
now-
Veterans Hospital, and hey, here you go.
it's always good to
But
keep a
now-
couple hanging around.
You're right, Mike.
But now
Right.
the honor guard now, I don't know where policy that just came out with or not, they will not present to anybody any name that was not on the original paperwork that was sent in. So if you sent in paperwork saying that the wife was gonna get it, and then you get to the funeral home and say, "Hey, you know what? I know I want to get hers, but I'd rather you give it to her mama." The military will not do that.
Ah,
They will just give it
that's
to
good to
you,
know. That's good
and
to
then you will have to
Thank you,
give
Barry.
it to them after the fact. Thank
Yeah.
you, Bear.
So-
That's excellent.
Thank you,
In
Barry.
Pennsylvania, if we're at it makes it easy when we're at the National Cemetery. They're a little more flexible, where they have when the folks that work there will ask me, "Where's the next of kin?"
Mhm.
And they'll say, "We'll sit them in a specific seat." So we sit them under the pavilion at the front left seat, and then that way, when they go to present, they know who to present it to. Sometimes it may change before, like I had it happen where even though she was the next of the kin, she wanted her son to get the flag because that was for the grandson, and
That's my flag.
he did everything for his grandfather. So in that case, we moved the seats and we put him in that seat so
Our
that it
cemetery
She
made
didn't
him
give me
stand
my
out.
flag. She give me
Yeah,
my flag.
Yeah,
Boy,
they
I don't know
got
what
it.
I don't know what picture you sitting in front of, but it looks like you got a whole ponytail hanging out your scalp.
Who?
Hated it.
Ooh.
Oh, Warren, look at Warren. Look at his background. Look how he had a ponytail.
What?
That was so random.
It is
just like,
random.
I really do have a ponytail.
Right.
I don't understand.
My bad, Mike. Flag on the play. I'm sorry.
You have a ponytail. What?
So
Sorry.
so I got a question though, right?
All right, we
I
got
got a
about 10
question,
minutes
though.
left. So what you got?
I got a question though, because a lot of Black veterans served during World War II or Vietnam. Have you ever had a family that said that they did not want military honors?
Yes.
Yes.
Because you know that our Black men were treated kind of foul when they came home from Vietnam.
Yeah.
So have you had a
I've had
family
that happen
that
plenty of
turned down
times.
military honors?
Yeah,
Especially if they're going to the public cemetery. Yes.
Yeah, great point there.
Yep.
That only
Warren, yeah.
most people that I've had like that, they don't go into the veteran cemetery either, so you don't have to entertain it. They will just straight go to a church cemetery or regular cemetery. They won't even entertain the VA piece at all.
No.
They
we
don't
have
want
veteran
nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah. So we have veteran packages all designed on our website and everything for veterans, special caskets, all of that. And every veteran that comes in, I always mention it to them. And Warren, to your point, there have been several families that say, Mama, women have served in the military too. So mom or daddy did not like their experience, and they really don't want that.
I had a spouse that said she needed a free grave, so she was putting her husband in there so she can have a free grave.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And now as it was said earlier, spouses can be in Virginia. I think it's all federal, but spouses can be buried at the state cemeteries for free.
Yeah,
I know Virginia passed that.
Free vault, free open, everything's free.
Yeah, along with the proper documentation, that's key. But we got about 8 more minutes, but I really want us to touch on active duty. I know some of us have done them, some of us have not. Those of us that have served for an active duty, any comments or on that? And I'll wait for anybody else.
Well, we have to remember that we are the funeral directors, but they do have certain things that the people in charge that they will do. We are there to assist the family. We're responsible for the family. The whole pomp and circumstance that comes from a higher rank, and you just follow suit. You don't tell them this is the way we do it here at this funeral home. When you got an active person, you follow what their decisions and suggestions would be for the actual service, for everything, even getting the body to the funeral home. So I know a lot of times we like to say, I'm the funeral director and you listen to me, but we need to be sensitive to the issue when we're serving active duty military families, that we're there. We're responsible for the family. And that's what
Can I respectfully say something?
Yes. I know you're going to say, what you going to say?
All right, mother, keep it clean.
During the active duty military service, I can tell you that they're not Kojic.
I was thinking that, and I didn't say it. I was thinking it. I didn't say it.
So what do you mean they're not
Explain
Kojic?
what Kojic is.
Explain.
All my Kojic friends are to get on you right now. I got a whole bunch of Kojic friends on here right now.
And Kojic and certain Pentecostal, because Pentecostal was broken down into different things too. Certain Pentecostal and Kojic churches will send a funeral director to try to come in your place and run everything. An unlicensed individual to come in your place and try to run things.
What?
And it's a thing where, for us, it's information and things to be shared between us and the family or the next of kin. The church highly involved themselves. The military will come in and let you know at what point they will provide their honors, how much of the honors they're able to give, which is full honors. Military police escort, the military has handled that for me, in addition to any of their vehicles that will be in attendance for escort to the cemetery for active duty. That happened twice for me. They've had the big army trucks that go from Aberdeen Proving Ground up in Aberdeen to the veteran cemeteries or whatever. So they coordinate that piece, and then they let us know. Then they tell us where we have the family and what's our traditional means of movement, and they align with us. But some of these church organizations will send their unlicensed individual in and try to run the entire service and leave the funeral home completely out.
Well, thank God we have a great relationship with our Kojic folks
Lord,
here.
listen here. We don't even want to talk about these so-called people that be at these churches that want to run everything. Lord, these so-called.
Look, I think we got a new topic, so that's gonna be a new topic.
Bereavement ministry people.
Yeah. New topic.
Consultants.
I think we had talked about that in the past, and it's just like it's normally for your higher clergy, bishops, your pastors, and stuff like that. And I know that they're trying to be helpful because I thought about it and I was like, Lord Jesus, the military, that is a perfect example of how you should work hand in hand with the funeral home.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
What we got going on is, but I think this is a perfect segue. I wanted to with sensitivity. I think this would be a segue into next week.
It is. We're gonna talk. I'm about to put it up. I'm about to put it up for next week. But before we get to next week, I just wanted to share a quick experience that I had with active duty. And just because you say active duty does not mean they had to fight in a war, right? They could be active in the military, maybe sick or something like that. But we had
still enlisted.
Still enlisted. We had a veteran that was out of state, out of the country actually, and flew them in. I call the state police. So the Virginia State Police, shout out to you all. They drove him from the state line in North Carolina. So we fly into Greensboro. Drove him with a police escort from the state line to my funeral home, to Hamlar Curtis Funeral Home. They waited. The military was there. He had his person with him the entire time. Got him out. Made sure that casket was open, and he was casket sharp, literally. I mean, it's a shout out to that department and what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have enough time to talk about it, but I'm just telling you, they are very meticulous and very particular in how they handle their own. And we thank you for that.
It's on YouTube.
It's a lot. I will Google it, go on YouTube. We might have some videos next week or something like that. But I'm just telling you, it is an amazing experience. I was so honored to serve them, that family and other families that we've done with active duty. Something wrong with y'all. Something's wrong with y'all. So talk about next week. So this is a good segue. We got about 3 more minutes.
Hold on.
So we got final wrap up. We're gonna go next
y'all
week.
Not paying attention to Charmaine doing this right here.
Yeah, she rocking. She rocking.
She laying me.
But hey, next week, episode 6, part 1. Can we show the body? Accidents and crisis events.
Oh man, this is a part 1, y'all. This is a series.
It's a 2-part series on this episode here. So this is the first one. And then the following week, we're going to talk about can we show the body, autopsies, and donations. That's part 2. All right?
Yeah.
So next week will be part 1.
Yeah.
Can we show the body, accidents, and crisis events? Unfortunately, that does happen.
I got 2 good ones for that one.
And then that as well. So that's going to be next week's show. All right, final wrap up, guys. Let's go around the horn. What you got? Adrian.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you didn't say who. Golly, go alcoholic moderator. No, seriously, y'all. Thank you so much. But listen,
Hey, it is Cinco de Mayo.
It is.
Yeah.
That ain't no Cinco. That's not no Cinco de Mayo club.
Shot.
That's why you've been over. That's why you've been over there eating them tacos and them flautas on the side of the camera.
Oh my God. All right, wrap up. We got 60 seconds, right?
Listen, y'all. Listen. We thank you all so much. Listen, I simply want to talk about our YouTube channel, y'all. Our YouTube channel is Till Death Do Us, the number 6. I am begging, I am pleading, I am asking that you all please, if you have not already, please go follow and subscribe and make sure you share it as well. YouTube, Till Death Do Us, the number 6, y'all. We are being blessed with this thing. We are excited. We're motivated on a weekly basis, y'all. We all work very, very hard and diligently throughout the week. So we're definitely making a sacrifice, and we just want y'all to be able to appreciate it. Till Death Do Us, the number 6 on YouTube. Please go subscribe.
Go to my website if you need to get your discharge paper. WilliamCBrownFH.com. It'll X and it'll send you directly to the VA.gov. WilliamCBrownFH.com. It doesn't matter what state you're in.
Hey, go to her bio on our website, tilldeathdous.com, and you can click her website on there. All right, Wendal, what you got?
Just want to share again. Thank you, veterans, for serving our country, and we hope that you've learned something tonight, or something has intrigued you to get some more information about DD-214s. If you have yours, great. If you don't, work on getting it. If you need to talk to a funeral professional, just do what you got to do to make sure that you got your stuff together. All right.
All right. Thank you, Wendal. Warren, what y'all got? 10 seconds.
I got nothing. It's Cinco de Mayo, and I'm about to go in my kitchen and make me a drink with some tequila. I got some 1800 in there that I'm about to go, take some shots to, and then I'm going to bed.
Damn bottle.
Listen, I just want to thank you all for supporting us. Like the little short man said, at Till Death Do Us 6. Please make sure that you support us. I will give myself a shameless plug here and say that support Reid Executive Group LLC. All of the graphics that you've seen thus far have been by me. That intro, that outro have been by me. So I'm grateful for supporting and keep supporting us. We want to see you next week and the week after that, and it's only going to get better from here.
All right. Thank you, everybody. So for Warren, Tiffanie, Wendal, Charmaine, Adrian, and myself, Mike Hamlar, peace.
Good night.
Till next
Thank y'all for
week.
watching.
See you next
Till next week,
week.
baby. Till